Welcome everyone, this is the Jenkins Platform SIG meeting and today we're on November 18, 2025. And around the table, virtual table that is, we have Chris Stern and myself, Bruno Verstein. If some other contributors join us, we'll welcome them accordingly. On the agenda today, we'll talk a little bit about Java 25. We'll talk about the container image updates for the Jenkins controller and agents, the work in progress on images, and if time allows, we'll talk a little bit about Risk 5. So, Java 25, it's been more than 2 months already since it got released, and it's been available even sooner than that in the Jenkins infra, thanks to the early access releases. So, Jenkins plugin maintainers and core maintainers were able to play with JDK 25 for quite a while now. We had several initiatives. Some of them are now dead, but some of them are still working because they don't need any time invested. They're all automatic. For example, we are trying to compile the most installed 250 plugins with JDK 25, and we update automatically a PR tracker. And it hasn't moved in a while. We're still around 51, 52% of the 250 most installed plugins working with JDK 25. Working doesn't mean that they have integrated JDK 25 in their repo for the time being. It's just us trying to pull the code, build with JDK 25, and put a stamp on it. It works or it doesn't work. So it hasn't moved that much lately because you have to use a pretty recent version of the parent POM in order to be able to compile with JDK 25. That's mostly what you have to do. There aren't many things to change most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. There aren't that many modifications to make to get your plugin to compile with JDK 25 if it already compiled with JDK 21. Of course, if it's still compiling with JDK 8, you've got a lot on your plate. But fortunately, that's not the case for most of them. So we also have now the Jenkins plugin JDK 25 compatibility test. That's another automatic spreadsheet where we can see which pull request changed the support of JDK 25 for these same plugins. So far, I think I counted earlier, it was about 124 plugins already using, JDK 25 in their Jenkins file. So most of them are built with JDK 25 and JDK 21 and sometimes even JDK 17. But that's not mandatory or even useful these days. Just 25 and 21 should be plenty enough. But if ever there's a plugin you like and you want it to adopt JDK 25, then you just have to follow the link and see what has been done, mostly by Mark Waite, by the way, to get the plugin to be compiled with JDK 25. I would even say that's almost a good first issue because there isn't much to do apart from upgrading to a very recent version of the parent POM and adding a line about JDK 25 to the Jenkins file, and that should be good to go. At least I think so. Chris, you may give it a try later on this month with one of the plugins where you are a maintainer, right?
Yep.
And that's how I threw you under the bus. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Now for the agents, it's been a while, several weeks, if not months, that we've been having a JDK 25 Docker agent image and a JDK 25 Docker SSH agent image. As for the controller, we used to have one pull request, but it was too ahead of its time because we were trying to get the Docker image for a Jenkins controller for JDK 25, and Jenkins itself was not yet compatible with JDK 25, so the PR got closed. But if anybody wants to give it a try, you already have an example, and it was not that hard. So anybody could try and get another PR created in order to get JDK 25 images for the controller. Not that anybody asked for it, but it could be useful. someday. Chris, any questions on JDK 25?
Nope.
Thank you. Now, the container image updates for the Jenkins controller. So last week we had an LTS, a .2 of the 202, sorry, .528. Still struggling with the numbers. The next one, thank you, Hervé, by the way, because he was the release lead. And the next one is for next week, at least for the release candidate. So it's .3, and it will be released on the 10th of December. And once more, it's Hervé who will be the release lead. Now,
I
for
think
the
it was hang on, I think someone
oh
voted good, but she never showed up
yeah,
afterwards. So we will have to follow up on that because I maybe Heavy would need to continue working on it, or I will pick it up. It depends. So we'll see.
okay, yes, you're right. I thought yeah, Hervé volunteered, and then somebody else volunteered, but then I lost track.
Yeah,
So
and they
yeah,
disappear.
that won't help. Yeah, I think it was their first time doing something like that. So it was around the lines of, I know DevOps, I think I know Jenkins, I can handle that. But of course,
Yeah,
maybe you can. But you need sometimes to have a mentor or somebody there to help you the first time. Been there, done that, and it's not a piece of cake. It's not undoable, but yeah, it needs practice to get good at that. And of course, you've been a release lead for so many times that you know how to do that, Chris.
yeah.
Thank you for letting us know. Now, for the weeklies, so we had, of course, 2 weeks, so two weeklies. The release notes are not yet ready for this week's release, unless it has changed. Drum roll. Ta-da! No, we just have the assets. So we'll have to do with only the previous release changes. So we bumped the dedicated 17 and 21 versions, as well as the Debian Trixie version. Hervé worked on the update CLI manifest to ensure architecture availability because sometimes we are missing on some packages for some architectures. For example, ARM64 is not always there at the same time, and we were not checking for the presence of these packages earlier. So that's why some PRs failed lately, automatic PRs. So now it's solved. And of course, we updated the update CLI. Now, for the Jenkins agent, we saw two releases for the SSH agent recently. We bumped the Git version on Windows. We bumped the BATS version, which is used to make some tests when we are building the images, to the latest version. And we also checked the architecture's availability in Debian Manifest for update CLI. As for the controller, we also bumped the JDK versions and the Trixie Linux versions. Now, for the Docker agents, we've also bumped the Git version on Windows, the Debian Trixie, Update CLI, BATS, JDK 17, Update CLI say so, BATS also, and yeah, I think that's the same, except that we have a UB9 version for the Docker agents. So of course, we also bumped the UB9 version. That's what we had to say regarding the latest updates for the Jenkins agents and controller. Chris, any question or comment?
Nope.
Thank you. Then we're good. Now, for the work in progress on images, nothing on the controller, but maybe soon we'll have something regarding JDK 25. You never know. For the Docker agent, we still have two long-running PRs. The run each JDK test in parallel in order to gain to shrink the time it takes to build the images, and the accept remoting ops containing spaces. It's not that these PR are complicated or difficult to review, whatever. It's just that we have so many things to do and so little time to do it that we have to make some choices. That's what it's long running. And as for the Docker SSH agent, I haven't spotted anything lately. Now, wow, that was quick. We are very efficient, Chris and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, RIS5, my latest hobby. Because why not? So recently we've been working on supplying a RISC-V set of binaries for Docker. So the Docker engine, the Docker client, containerd, runc, Docker compose, and another one, C agent also. And we did that for Trixie, but also for Fedora. And it's now fully automatic. So, for example, this morning, I was surprised to discover we had a 29.0.2 version of these packages. Thank you, Docker, for that. And the idea behind that is to be able to test on the recent Docker versions the Jenkins images, of course, be it the controller or the agent. We've been running Jenkins on RISC-V hardware for 3 years now, but without Docker. And this is the next step before proposing a change to the infrastructure so that they also publish RISC-V images for the Jenkins controller and agents. So that's why I want to have a recent version of Docker in order to be able to test it on my RISC-V hardware. And then maybe one day we'll have a Jenkins Docker agent, or maybe not Docker agent, but just an agent running on RISC-V, because I have some hardware in my lab that we could use to validate that this is an architecture we should keep an eye on. Yeah, and I think that's all I had. Chris, any subject I forgot to talk about? Any question, any comment, anything?
Nope.
Okay, so we set a new record. 15 minutes. Well
Yay.
done. Yeah. Wow, we're so good at that. Well, the recording should be available from 24 to 48 hours on YouTube, and agenda will be visible on community.jenkins.io. And we should see each other 2 weeks from now. Until then, have fun with Jenkins. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm. And now I have to find the right button to end the recording. Oh.
Yep.
Where did you... Oh, there it is. It has moved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.